So you want to get started building websites in 2026, but you have no idea where to start. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can get started using Elementor and start building your own websites. I'm not going to show you how you can build out a specific website in this video. I'm going to show you the specific tools that you can use within Elementor and the specific techniques that you can use in order to get started and get your head around the entire project, the entire tool that is Elementor. It's really not that difficult and it's really fun in my opinion. So let's get straight into my environment so I can show you where to begin. Okay, so we are in the Elementor environment, so we're in the WordPress environment, and currently we have a local WordPress website set up without anything. If we go to in the plugins and we take a look at what we have there, we just have Elementor and Elementor Pro installed at the moment. And if I go towards my appearance and menus, or themes, I have the Hello theme installed. This is the Elementor theme that enables you to have it's a very lightweight theme that just enables you to do any custom builds that you want, and it's just really fast whenever it's loading your website. So to get started, I'm going to create a page and I'm going to click on Add Page, and we are going to create a test page because that is we're just going to create something in test. I'm going to call it test, and make sure on the right side it says template, and you want to click on default template and click on Elementor full width. That is the canvas for Elementor, where your basic website, that is the template that you want to use. Now I'm going to publish this page, and on the top here it says added with Elementor, and I'm going to click on that. Let's wait for the Elementor to load. Okay, so here we are in Elementor. As you can see, this is the actual editor itself that we are going to be working in. So we have a completely empty canvas where we are going to start building. Now I am using the dark theme, so that's why it might look a little bit different towards yours. I'm just using the dark. I'm more of a developer background, so I really like using the dark themes. So let's take a quick look at what we have. On the left side, we have a section with elements. These are all the elements that we can use within Elementor. We can just drag and drop them in the canvas on the right side. So as you can see, we have a portfolio, we have some slides, we have a call to action, we have some reviews, some code highlights, a menu, a search bar, tabs, image box. You have so many options you can choose from, SoundCloud even, stuff like that. But at the top you have a layout, and we have containers and grids. Now, what is happening here? If you take a look at the middle, the white section, that is the actual website itself. And as you can see, we have 3 buttons. The first is add, the second is load, and the third is create using AI. There is a license involved in this, so I'm not going to cover that. If you click on the left side, we can get a flexbox or a grid. What we're going to do is we're going to create a flexbox. And now, as you can see, you can select your structure. Maybe if you worked with Elementor before, you can remember that we used to have sections and columns. So you could have up to 12 columns in a website. Nowadays, it's more containerized. So that means you have a container and it goes into a specific direction. A direction can go down, it can go right, or vertical or horizontally. That's how I should say it. Now you can start with one empty container. You can also already select a structure, how you want to build your site. I'm just going to go ahead and click on an empty one, and I'm going to use the right. Now, what does it mean if you select the right one? So in my case, as you can see, you can still set the direction of this item to left or to right. But what I can do is if I click open the container and make sure that it's selected by clicking on the 6 dots here of the container itself, if you drag something in, it's going to place everything on the right of it. So for example, let's say I would drag in a heading, and let's say I would click here on the plus add element, and I would want to have an image underneath it. It wouldn't allow me to do that because the container is set up to put the elements next to each other. Now, how do we resolve it? It's really simple. You can either click on the 6 buttons up here to select the actual container, or you just right click somewhere in your Elementor grid and click on structure and then click on container, and there you have your container options again. Now, if you click the down arrow, as you can see, it automatically puts the elements underneath each other. Now, let's say you want to have some text here with you want to have a heading and a paragraph, and then you want to have an image right of that with another paragraph. How would we build this? Well, if I would try to add in a paragraph here, it would allow me to do that. But I want to have the image on the right here, and there is no way for me to put it there now. So what do? I remove the heading and the paragraph and the image. I click on the initial container that we added. You can also remove it and start over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a container that goes to the right. Make sure that the horizontal is selected. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add in another container. And this specific container, so we now have two containers, right? We have a container within a container. So this specific inner container is going to have the column vertical. Now, if I add in, let's say, a heading, and I would also add in the text editor, it would drop it underneath. But what if I want to have the image to the right? Now remember, the outer container is horizontal, the inner container is vertical. That means if I duplicate everything that's happening within the first container, it's putting it to the right. As you can see, because the content of the outer container are horizontal, everything that's within is being stacked next to each other. If I would change the direction of the outer container to be vertical, it would just simply drop it underneath. We don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove everything on this container, click on here, drag in an image, and also drag in my text editor. And there we go. We have our text and our image, and it would look like this. Now, if you want to change these things, you can just simply click the element itself or click the little pen which is appearing next to it. And as you can see, it says here you can change your text, you can add in a link, you can say the HTML tag. This is for a search engine optimization. I'm not going to go too deep into this. But let's say you want to add some styling. You want to change the font, you want to change the color, the way that it's being set up. So the alignment can be clicked here. As you can see, you can change the alignment itself. The typography is something you can click here. Now I already have a global typography defined here, but you can click on this little pen and then you can just select another font. For example, I'm going to use Inter, and you can drag in the size here. So let's put it at 38 or something, no, 42 maybe, 42. Here you can put in the weight. I want to have it bold, or I want to have it really, really bold. You can also have it super thin. You can have your transform, so uppercase, lowercase. Maybe you want to capitalize every word. The style, this is, if you want to have it italic or oblique or, I would just not do anything here unless needed. And you can also have some decoration, so have a line underneath it or through it or whatever you need, above it even. And then you have your line height. This means, the amount of pixels that you would add in between your lines. You have your letter spacing, that is the actual letters that you can change, and the word spacing. Now, I don't want to do anything. I just want to have a normal header. Okay, the same goes for the paragraph. Now this looks a little bit different because you have a little text box that you can change here, as you can see. You can do those same things in the paragraph itself. Or you can always go ahead and go into the style, click on the pen and do the same things there. If you want to change the color of the text, you can just click on text color and you can change it to red, for example, if you enjoy looking at a red color. Okay, so that's that. What about images? If you click on an image, as you can see, it says choose image here. So you can choose an image, you can upload a file here or drag one from your media library. See if we have something. We do. I have this image of an empty image. We can just load this in. And as you can see, now it's really slow. It's really small. I want to have it bigger. What we can do is we can go into style and change the width of the image. Now you can scale it as too big as the container itself is. If you want to have this bigger, we are going to have to change something on the container. What we have to do is we have to click on the way that it's been you're justifying it. You can either justify the content down here, so you can select however your content should be justified. I'll show you this in a second. What you can also do is you can simply drag, as you can see, the container along. And that allows you to dynamically play with how wide you want to have your container. It also shows you the percentage. Let's say you want to have a 50-40 percentage. What you can do is you already have your main container, so you're going to click the first one. It says width here, and we can say I want this to be 40%, and then we can click the second container, and that should then be 60%. If you want to have the other way around, just to show you what happens, I can put this to 60%. This will automatically scale down to 40%. It doesn't show it like there, but it's actually 40%. There we go. Now, I want to do something with the alignment. I want to make sure that this is not sitting on top, but this is sitting in the middle or my heading on my paragraph is in the middle compared to my image. How do I do that? I click on the container itself, and I go here to justification, and I click on this little center right here. And as you can see, it's centered to the middle, which is really cool if you ask me. Now you can, as I explained to you, you can set the alignment of the text by clicking on these little buttons right here. What you can also do is if you just want your text to be all the way to the right or all the way to the left, you can also click on your container right here and align the items to left or right. Now, as these are the maximum width, it's not going to be showing, but this is also another way to align your items. Now, okay, cool. Let's see what else we have. If we click on the plus side, we have some more elements that we can use. And I'm just going to go through a couple so you can see what you can actually do. So let's say I want to have a container where you can showcase the Google Maps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on container. I'm going to add one in here. And I'm going to click on the little plus sign. And I'm going to add in a Google Maps here. Now that's going to load. It's going to load London in this instance. As you can see, we have London. But what if I want to have this full width all over the screen and I want to have this black and white? We can do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the actual container and I'm going to say it says content width is boxed. I'm going to say full width. And as you can see, now it is full width all across the screen. This first one is not, as you can see on the left side, we have, and the right side, we have little squiggly line. That is the maximum width that you can work in a boxed container, which you can, by the way, also change in the width. This is a standard for web design practices, so typically you don't change it around unless you really need to. But for a header, for example, if you need to create a header such as this, you can put it on full width. Now I want to change this location to Amsterdam. So let's put it to Amsterdam. And now it's going to load in. But I also want to change the styling. So now it says Amsterdam, as you can see. And the styling, I want it to be black and white. So I'm going to bring down the saturation to 0. And now it's black and white. And I also want to zoom in a little bit more. So that is zooming out, obviously. I want to zoom into 14. And now we are here at this square. So that is those basics with Elementor. Let's see what else we can do. As you might have noticed, by the way, I'm only using content and style. You can also click on advanced. So for example, if you click on the heading that we had before and we click on advanced, you see we have something called margin and padding within our layout. Now, what is margin? What is padding? Padding is if you have a box and you wanna add in a little bit of spacing. For example, I want to make sure that there's a little bit more spacing. That is padding. Padding is all the space within the element. So, for example, if I put in 20 pixels here, as you can see, it's adding some pixels within. The margin is the space around it. So if we say I want to have 50 margin, as you can see, it's adding 50 pixels here to the outside of the actual element. If I put in 50 here, it's gonna stay on the same width. It's just gonna space 50 pixels bottom to top. Now you also see a little link values together. There is always a specific a margin and padding defined within Elementor. So for this example, if I click on the pen here and I unlink the margin and padding, it will maximum out. But the linking is actually essentially doing it on all the sides. So if you link it, it will be applied top, bottom, left, and right. If you only want to have, for example, on the left side, you just simply unlink it, click on left, and add in your 50 pixels. And if you want to do the same on this side, we are gonna unlink these two and say on the left side, I want to have maybe 100 pixels of margin of padding. And as you can see, it can jump around a little bit within its own box. That is margin and paddings. Now you also have some other stuff in here. As you can see, we have some widths. We can have an inline or a default width. The width is the actual box within the container. So this purple line within the container. If you set it, for example, to inline, it will scale to however big your text or your actual object is. So for example, if I would do custom, as you can see, you can adjust your width here. Now the reason that this is, if I do inline, it is already on the maximum because I have a lot of text. If I just say hello there, as you can see, hello there, it will just put the box to as big as this text is. If I put it on default, it should a full width. There we go. Now it's full width again. Now we also have some positioning. This is a little bit more advanced. If you put it to absolute, you can actually drag it across the screen, but you already get a warning here that custom positioning is not considered best practices for responsive design. Responsive means if we change it to a tablet or to a phone, as you can see, I don't know where it is, but it's somewhere here on the left of the screen. Let me try it, and there it is. The positioning is just really bad. Don't use it unless you really have to. And then we have our Z-index class ID in CSS classes. This is for coding. Z-index is, for example, if you have an overlapping element and you want to make sure that something stays on top of a layer, you define your layers with the Z-index. So for example, this sits on layer 1, this would sit on layer 2. And now if these would be placed on top of each other, the heading would actually be on top, because it has a higher Z-index. Okay, that is that. Let's take a look at, oh yeah, we also have some animations in here. So that's cool to show. If, for example, you click on the pen, advance, and you click on motion effects, you can set in a entrance animation, and I'm gonna do a fade in left. There you go, and it fades in left. You can set the speed. I don't really like doing fast, but if you would now load the page, you would see this animation fading in left, which is really cool. I would add it like this. Now, if you are done editing within Elementor, you're simply gonna click on publish, and it's gonna, this website or this page is now actually published, and it's saved everything that you have done. So let's go ahead and take a look at our beautiful page. If I exit, go back to Elementor, and I go click on back here. Now we have pages, tasks, and if I click on view, it will bring up our page that we just created, a beautiful page, and we can see what we've built. This is it. Add your heading here with your paragraph, your image, and your another paragraph. And here is our beautiful Amsterdam. This is the very basics of Elementor. Now, if you want to go ahead and change something else in this page, you can just click on Edit with Elementor on the top here again, and Elementor will load again, and you're able to adjust your things again. Now, that is the very basics for Elementor. And that is also the last part of this video. If you want to see how you can actually create an actual website using Elementor in 2026, using these containers, making sure it's responsive and fast, which is also really important to do, please let me know so we can schedule a tutorial for this. For now, I wish you the best of luck building your websites within Elementor. Just enjoy building those things, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye bye.